All right, everybody, behave now. I said a few minutes. That was an awesome panel. I sort of wish there was a fourth share. I would have gone after a few of those things. But they did a great job. All right. Yeah, good luck. Look, first of all, I'm really excited to spend some time with you guys. I know this is a great opportunity for, a lot of women to get together and figure out how to work together and how to work the system. It's great to see so many of you engaged, and this is really all about how do we accelerate clean energy. And it's no small feat, but it is absolutely the essential question of our time. It shouldn't come as any surprise to you that after leaving the White House last year, I've been focused on climate. What a surprise, hey? But not just domestic climate. And because it's great if we focus on spreading the word about the opportunities of the IRA, which I'm trying to do, but we have to have efforts to advance investments in the global south. I cannot see this discussion go any longer before we recognize that small island nations in the global south demand money, demand resources, and we have to provide it. It's our obligation. It was our emissions that are creating some of the challenges they're facing now. They cannot protect themselves without resources that the United States owes to the global south and these small island nations. And the great thing is, when we were in the COP in Egypt, they stood up and they said this. They are demanding now an equal share of the pie. It is an amazing opportunity for us to deliver. And so part of my frustration is it's great to work domestically, but internationally, climate is a planetary problem. It will not be solved just by what we do domestically. So let me start by just acknowledging that we are living in the United States a pretty difficult world right now. We can't get money for the things that we need. And we have to recognize that the government and many others at this point in the government want to simply shut down the government. So I know we're sitting here with all these background things, but as crazy as things are, I want you to just keep in mind one thing, that both red and blue states have the chance to get the support they need to build a clean energy future. And both red and blue states are jumping at this chance. So stop reading the headlines, stop dwelling on what you can't fix, because as my mother would say, what was that coach used to say? Don't waste a good worry on things you can't control. Focus on your own life, focus on your own state, focus on your own communities. We just have to understand that things are changing. Today our country has stepped up to provide a historic level of funding that's sparking creativity. It's feeding our country's spirit of innovation again, and it's giving all of us hope and our collective ability to lead the world in our quest for a clean energy future now. Yes, we need to accelerate at a pace of transition. One of that is to get off fossil fuels, and the other is to build clean energy. And that's why today, the only way we're going to accelerate is to stay hopeful, to stay engaged. It's all about a world of new possibilities, and it's about new partnerships that we can create together, because that is how change happens. Not by moping and talking about how bad the world is. It's about working together to make things change. And that's how we're going to succeed. That's how we're going to accelerate. This is our ability to commit to our children and grandchildren that we are going to do right by them. And it's time for that to happen. I am hugely optimistic. You can try to make me depressed. You ain't gonna happen. That's not happening. I am an unabashed optimist because after working for 2 local communities in Massachusetts, 6 New England governors, 5 Democrats, Republicans and 1 Democrat, and 2 presidents, both Democrats, I can now see and feel and taste that clean energy future isn't just around. It isn't just possible, but it is already underway. This is happening. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. You're here to talk about the most creative approaches to think about that future, but that future is now, and we are going to make the most of these ideas. We have to keep pushing together because we have to deliver our children the benefits of clean energy as soon as possible. Look, the story of humanity rising to the challenge of climate head on is all about those new ideas. It's all about the innovative technologies. It's all about how expensive and impractical and unrealistic it is to not make this change. We have a reality today that we can face today and have to. But don't face it with your back turned. Face it with your face towards the wind and moving forward. Because we have work to do together. And this transition to clean energy has begun, and we need to use each milestone as an opportunity to pat ourselves on the back, to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and to be more passionate and engaged than ever before. This is how change happens. I look to where we started way back when in the 60s and 70s when I was a kid. Yes, I am that old. You'll have to get over it. And all I can see is just how far we've come. Last year, worldwide spending in carbon-free energy surpassed fossil fuel spending for the first time. That's a big damn deal. Celebrate it. Renewable share of the energy mix is expected to rise from 29% in 22 to 35% in 2025. That's a big deal. We're entering what some people are calling a new industrial age for clean energy. In fact, the International Energy Agency predicts that we are going to see $650 billion of private investment in clean energy every year through 2030. And by 2030, renewables are expected to be 80 to 90% of the energy in the United States. That is a big damn deal. Celebrate it. And let's not forget that my little EPA is going to continue to put out strong regulations so that we can actually move forward and make sure that we look at the difficulties of dealing with fossil fuels the same way as we're excited about the opportunities of clean energy. Look, we have had communities that have been decimated by pollution. We have communities that don't allow their kids to breathe healthy air. We have communities that we need to invest in because they've been left behind for far too long. This is what accelerating a pace is all about. Not just in my town or yours, but across the United States and, frankly, across the world. Because the benefits of clean energy have never been equally distributed, and they have to be starting now. We can't let disenfranchised communities be left out of the winner's circle anymore. We can't let that be our future any longer. We need to work together. We need to work together and with allies across the U.S. and the world to speed up this deployment. And we have to do it in ways that real people can see, feel, and taste. The ones that don't have to talk and read about the International Energy Agency and their analysis. We have to teach them that in their lives, they can make a difference. In their lives, we can make a difference for them. We can provide them a wealth of opportunities. And I'm not just talking about lower energy costs for families and businesses. I'm also talking about growing really good paying union jobs. I'm talking about building stronger and more secure clean energy economies, not just to deal with climate change, but to ensure that the poor and the disenfranchised are part of the benefit strategy moving forward. We have to not just build renewables, we have to build sustainable economies in the United States and around the world. After all, their economic prosperity is what's going to bring our economic prosperity moving forward. Look, folks have been sidelined for too long, and we cannot wait for justice any longer. which is what brings me hope to all the young people whose heads are shaking today, because they understand this, they get it, and they're going to demand it. And God bless them, demand it every single day. Think about it as you wake up. Think about it when you go to bed. And in the meantime, stay hopeful that we can deliver this kind of justice, because that's what the United States is all about. Look, President Biden stood up and he called climate change an existential threat to people everywhere. And he committed to take strong action. He knew that climate action was not just a challenge, but the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. A future where fossil fuels would no longer win the battle for the hearts and minds and pocketbooks of the American public. That's what he knew. And a future that put the U.S. in a leadership position in climate. And that is exactly what has happened. After 30-plus years of local, state, and federal efforts to test new ideas and policies and strategies, we knew we had the solutions. No, they're not the end solutions, but we know how to make progress. We know that progress on climate change could be made fast, and we were here and ready to grab those opportunities. Our country's post-COVID recovery was difficult. Guess what made it less difficult? Taking action on climate change. That's what made it less difficult. Putting people to work, saving families money, and advancing climate and environmental justice every step. So President Biden made climate one of his strongest and most compelling commitments, and he was fearless in saying it over and over again. And with the support of President and Congress and the private sector, we have opened up huge economic opportunities with the passage of the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, Inflation Reduction Act, and the CHIPS and Science Act. These three bills are like a trifecta of clean energy. And other countries immediately got really ticked off at us. All of our allies said, ooh, protectionist, protectionist. Do you realize there's only one requirement for domestic content in the entire 200 and 500 and something pages of this? Electric vehicles. Get over it. We're going to manufacture in the United States again. We're going to have really good paying union jobs in the United States again. And we're going to allow people to see that this is a world that we can deliver for the people that we care about, for our families and our kids. Look, since the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act just last August, clean energy projects have already created more than 107,000 jobs across 44 states, both blue and red states, but mostly red states. This represents more than $270 billion in clean energy investments in 1 year. This thing was only estimated to be worth $370. Not a good estimate, because it goes off for 7 to 10 years. Look, we are making progress. We are advancing gigawatts of new clean power over the last 8 months or so, and that's more than the total investment in clean power plants from 2017 to 2021. And recent analysis estimates that the IRA would cut greenhouse gas emissions 40% below 2005 levels by 2030, reducing climate damages by $1.9 trillion. So this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and we sit here wondering how we're going to accelerate. We're going to accelerate the same way we've done everything else. We're going to demand it. We're going to support it. We're going to activate it. We're going to inspire it. We're going to innovate it, because that's what our country has done in the past. That's how we're going to move forward. Time is ticking. The developed world has to unlock, the developed world has to unlock significant private and public investment, not just here in the United States, but it needs to advance it across the developing world, not just because it's the best thing to do or the just thing to do, but is the absolute only way that we are going to win this fight against global climate change. That's why after leaving the White House, I joined America's All In, and it's fun and it's exciting. It's talking about the IRA. It's going to different places, state leaders and young people. Everybody wants it. This is lovely. But we have to do more. We have a responsibility to the world as the United States of America, and we have to fill it. So while it's wonderful and I'm excited to be hanging around with Lisa Jackson and Jay Inslee and Maya Lyle from Charlotte, we just have to recognize that all of these things are building a momentum, but we need to do more. If we can get the word out on all these opportunities, people in our communities, in their homes, will actually begin for the first time to see and feel and taste what this is all about. Because in the end, climate change is not a planetary problem. The planet doesn't give a damn if there's a single human being in it. We're probably the most annoying creature on the earth. It's people. It's making them get excited, not sitting there lecturing them on greenhouse gases, but sitting there encouraging them to save some money, to get a better job, to actually live better because you've paid attention to this issue. So as you go out and about, make sure that you're talking to people and make sure that you're driving and advising private investment companies, which I am doing now, to try to advance investment in the global South. Look, they deserve it, and we deserve to pay for it. It's as simple as that. We've benefited our whole lives from a robust economy with gaps in between. It's about time that we provided a little bit of opportunity for them. So like you, I'm keeping busy, right? We have to study, we have to work, we have to be confident in our commitments and our dedication, but I am convinced that with the creativity that we can all bring to the table and the passion we have to speak with, that we will accelerate this. We will never go backwards, and we will run forwards if we stay hopeful. Hope is the future. Look, I want to do one more thing before I nail this thing shut, and it's to get you to repeat after me 3 separate statements that always rummage around in my head, and you're going to do it. Because it's exciting, and it'll tell you exactly how I think about life. Are we ready? Yes. Climate change is real. Climate change is real. That was good. Man-made emissions have caused it. Which is why women need to rule the world. Say it, come on, women need to rule the world. Ciao, guys.